Hey coach, happy Monday. Happy Monday after a live race. You just did another live race here in the state of California. Is that right?
I did. I was very fortunate. I had a bib that was gifted to me by one of our RaceMob and Too Legit fitness members, Patrick. Thank you very much. And had a chance to run in our state capital. Perfect weather, and it was great being out there with fellow runners. Small field along the American River, and just had a good time overall. It felt really good again to get out there and put one foot in front of the other.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. And it is looking like live racing is starting to come back in a number of different states. We had just seen on Run Local and Race Raves, they had talked about 40 different states kind of starting to open up live racing. We know that here in California it's still touch and go in a number of different counties, but there's hope that soon enough there will be live racing here, and at least in the next couple of months, potentially things are starting to open up in Q3, Q4, which is fantastic. You had also mentioned we should talk about Boston Marathon coming up, and registration for Boston as well.
Yes, as we may have mentioned in a previous episode, the Boston Athletic Association has done for 2021, they've actually reduced the field size by 10,000 people. So that means that that number of 20,000 eligible participants, there are a lot of people that are on the cusp, that had met the qualifying standards and then some. But even if you met the qualifying standards by 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you still may be on the outside looking in. So if a lot of people have worked a lifetime to achieve that qualifying standard that may not actually get the opportunity to run in Boston, there will be a virtual Boston Marathon with upwards of 70,000 participants. But we'll wait and see. I believe the submission time frame is in April, and probably by the end of the month, I would imagine that the Boston participants who got in or unfortunately didn't will know, and we'll kind of go from there. So fingers crossed for everyone who's met that qualifying standard. We know there's not a real easy answer, but we're rooting for you regardless.
Absolutely, yeah. And we talked to a number of guests, podcast guests, and other people who have qualifying time. So we are crossing our fingers for you guys to be able to get in. And I think, yeah, registration is at the end of April. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, this is the first time that Boston has opened up for other people that have not qualified. And I think their virtual event is going to be one of those that a lot of people are interested in participating in. I know that there is a bit of controversy around Boston participants versus Boston qualifiers and all of that. And I think, the side of the coin that I land on is the more people that you can inspire, the more people that you can get out there to go run, I think the better. I mean, I think it helps everybody, and there is definitely a distinction, and there's still going to be prestige around being a Boston qualifier and qualifying and getting that qualifying time for that event, regardless of if they open up the virtual event for others to participate in. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, well said, Casey. And I believe it was either Tommy or India made this point, our last week's podcast guest, that these race entities, even the majors, they still need some source of the ability to self-support with funding. So if more people are able to participate, even virtually, and it allows that race to be around in the future, then sometimes we have to make some concessions. And much like we experienced at one of our favorite local races on the Monterey Peninsula, the Big Sur Marathon, that elected to refund 100% of race fees and went shuttered for 2021, but we'll be back, hopefully, knock on wood, stronger in 22 because of it. So support your local races, especially as they're starting to come back. As you mentioned, Kevin, with 40 states now having some level of live racing.
Yeah. And with Big Sur, I know it was 60% of race fees, but it was still, yeah, exactly. They had a shutter.
Right.
They still had a shutter, and unfortunately lay off so many of the staff there. But yeah, we really hope that event comes back. One of the most beautiful races that I've ever participated in, and that many have seen for sure. So incredible stuff. So want to quickly get to some fantastic shout outs for RaceMob members. So Coach, you want to give some shout outs to some folks from the team?
Certainly. Let's start out with Scott Strool out of New Jersey. And those of you who've had the fortunate ability to listen to his compelling story, as it was one of our podcasts, this gentleman had open heart surgery several years ago, and on Saturday, this past Saturday, completed the virtual New York half marathon. He did it in his home state of New Jersey and came in just over 2 hours, I think 2:02 and change, ran strong. And congratulations, Scott. He's also a RaceMob contributor, and you'll be hearing more from his collaboration with Kevin and I in coming episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's actually in charge right now of all of our products. So we are working on this RaceMob products side of the business, where we're trying to get all of the recommendations from all of you on what products you like, what products you've been using, so that all of us can benefit from this collective knowledge of what products have worked for us, what products we're thinking about buying, all of that stuff. So Scott's in charge of that. Hopefully we're rolling out the first version of that in the next few days. So look for those links, look for information on how you can contribute to the products and how we can kind of set the system up for everybody to enjoy. Coach, we also have a couple of other folks celebrating this weekend or with accomplishments this weekend as well, right?
Yes, we do. Armando Rivera was actually in Kentucky, home of the Kentucky Derby, bluegrass country, and completed a half marathon. So congratulations. We hope at some point to have him on, as he has an incredibly inspiring, profound story. A avid jockey, horse enthusiast, who was in a tragic accident at a young age, but has found his love of racing and has been crushing it for many years in a wheelchair. So stay tuned for his story being shared via our channels.
Incredible. And I know that so many of you also ran in awareness of the violence against Asian Americans this past weekend. So congratulations to all of you. I'll have photos and everything up here for all of those runs. And thank you to India, who also mentioned a race down in Atlanta to stop the Asian hate. Just under a week from that heinous crime in Atlanta. And so thank you to India. India and Tommy were our recent podcast guests this last week, and just a fun, fantastic conversation. I mean, you can tell that they are podcasting veterans, just the amount of energy and excitement and everything that they brought to the episode. It's so much fun. It's a great conversation. So if you haven't listened to it already, can't say enough for those guys for being on, for jumping on, and for giving us some advice on podcasting in general. And Coach, I know that you also had a coaching Q&A this last weekend with Arena. You guys were talking about injury prevention. Arena, fantastic physical therapist with Rocket PT, her own practice. And so tell us a little bit about what you learned.
Thank you very much. We had one fantastic participation, good turnout, and as much as Arena and I were the facilitators, it was really the meaningful content and the sharing between the participants and maybe what injuries they may have had and what were some things that they've done to help recover while still staying active. Because the last thing from a coaching perspective, and the last thing what a physical therapist wants to do, certainly Coach Arena, is to say, stop running. And there are many of these injuries that you can, or pains and strains, aches, pains, and strains that you can still modify and pivot, still staying active, not losing your cardio edge, but not also further aggravating the injury. So what are some of those pivots? Exercise bike, elliptical, working on your stretching, being more pliable if it's not further going to aggravate maybe a strained muscle. Things along those lines. The importance of rest days, the importance of self-care, meaning a good warm-up and a good cool-down. Those things, when you're investing in yourself, can help prevent injury in the bigger picture. So those are some really good takeaways from the group.
It's fantastic. Yeah. And I love that we're starting to do more of these team Q&As. And so team coaching is starting to be a much bigger portion of our business. If you're looking for coaching, if you're looking for training plans, if you're looking to be part of a team and a team effort, going after new races over the next couple of months, come join the RaceMob team training. We have very, very affordable plans, and you're going to be a part of this incredible team, learning stuff all along the way. You'll have access to Coach B when you have your questions throughout, and we're going to make sure that you get to the starting line in tip-top shape. And that's, in fact, the theme for this week's podcast. So if you haven't listened to our podcast in a while, this week is one that you're not going to want to miss. We do go into performance. How do we get you to the starting line at peak performance, ready to go, ready to hit your new PRs? And so tune in this week, this Thursday, for that fantastic podcast episode. You're absolutely going to love it. And now we have new members on the screen. Welcome all of you new members from this week. And we're going to have a new member kickoff so that you can meet Coach B and myself and the other new members to RaceMob this Thursday. We're kicking it off at 4:30 Pacific time. This will just be a Zoom meeting, so the link will be down below in the description. Come join us. Come say hi. Come ready with your goals for this month. We really want to just help support you guys. Make sure that you are hitting your goals for the month, holding you accountable, and keeping you motivated throughout the entire month. And that'll be followed by our Zoom party. So everybody here is invited to our Zoom party this Thursday. Just want to catch up with everybody, see what your goals are for this month, and make sure that we are again supporting you, keeping you motivated, keeping you after it, and holding you accountable to your goals this month, and just having a bunch of fun. So come join us. We'll have links down below on how you can join those Zoom parties and register for it. And with that, we also have birthdays. So birthdays up here on the screen. We've got birthdays up on the screen. And question of the day, Coach, do you want to give our question of the day?
Yes, we, Kevin and I, KC and Coach B, want to know, how can we be a better part of your health and wellness journey? How can we help ensure your success, your ability to learn the tools, the recovery methods, and the right training regimen to ensure your best journey to your goal for 2021.
Fantastic. And with that, just want to say thank you guys for tuning in this week. If you like this content, please give us a thumbs up down below. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification, and we will see you guys again next week.